I guess you were hearing some things locally there you wanted to address about the
Yeah,
draft, Brandon?
Yeah, Rich, it was, it's one of those things. Listen, we just felt it was a defensive heavy draft and it lined up with some of our needs. And, it was one of those things you hear something for a while. And I just think there was a little bit of a narrative being pushed around here locally that we needed to, address wide receiver. We needed to do it in the draft. And it started last year after Diggs. We moved on from Diggs, and I truly understood the narrative. Going into the season last year, people are bringing up, you traded Diggs. Do you have enough answers there? And, that was my point. Was I thought offensively, we've got pretty much everyone back for the most part. We swapped out a few pieces, which I think are going to help us even more. But so I didn't feel like, that was the narrative that made the most sense. And, we signed Elijah Moore a couple of days later, and they're like, see, they need a receiver. It's like, no, we weren't. We're always trying to add talent. We felt in this draft it wasn't a heavy receiver, like lined up top to bottom. You're going to be able to get, future starters in the fourth round. And so once you got past the first, number of receivers, we were just like, man, we're just kind of adding to, not necessarily upgrading our group. And so that was probably the pushback. Like, why is the 2-hour takeaway to start the day last week after our draft about not getting a receiver versus, we needed D-line help. We needed additions in our secondary, and we thought we were able to find some pieces that will fit nicely here.
I love the kid you got from Kentucky. Obviously, Maxwell Hairston jumped, off the screen of NFL Network at the Combine, and then off my NFL Network screen at the draft. I'm wondering did you notice that he was officially the hugger of the green room? He was the green room hugger because he was stationed at the table that was right by the tunnel that everybody had to walk past him to get to the stage. Were you noticing that kid on draft night?
I was not aware of that, to be honest. I wasn't. We have the TVs on. We have you guys on. We enjoy that, but sometimes we do turn it down if we're having calls with other teams. So I did not notice it, but after we selected him, our PR people and then the local media asked me about it. So I wanted to see it. And so they were showing me, and it was cool. Even the next day on GMFB, they were talking about that as much as they were his play on the field. And I think it backs up the character of this young man. And he was genuinely happy. I asked him when we flew him in, I'm like, what was it? He goes, man, I had the perfect seat. He goes, I know most of these guys. I've either trained with them, I've played with them, or I met them there. And he goes, it was awesome just to see their families, and their agents and their people around them be so excited for them. And I wanted to get in the mix and celebrate with them too.
Well, very rarely, Brandon, will I accept somebody explaining why they're turning the volume down on me, but I understand it. You got a job to do. I accept it. Yeah, you got a job to do. But what did you like about Hairston going into the draft, where you're sitting there at 30 and you're like, we're going to take him. We got him.
Yeah, Rich. Even in our combine interview, I told him don't run that fast, and I asked him what he was going to run, and he said something like 4.2, I think. And I said, well, if you run that fast, we're not going to get you. And dang if he didn't do it. But we were, as it's going along, you just feel that speed, Rich. I was telling the media here, some guys test fast, some guys play fast, some guys do both. I would say he does both. That speed that you witnessed and you called that day in Indy at the Combine, you feel that on film. And I think, Daniel Jeremiah pointed out, just you see a play where Isaiah Bond's running a post route and he's in trail position and Bond's got, a step or two on him, and just the closing speed that he possesses. He's got ball skills. You can see him play some zone, eyes on the quarterback. And, he got nicked up a little bit this year with a shoulder deal, but he was trying to play through it. I give him a lot of credit for that. Some guys with his status may have shut it down, and he tried to fight through it.
And you took the first Sanders of the draft, Brandon. And
yes, we did.
But you traded up to take TJ Sanders. Why? What'd you like out of him?
Yeah, TJ's a guy, was a big time basketball player in high school, kind of took up football late, and got this scholarship from South Carolina, Rich. And he's just a guy that's got a lot of talent in there, and we think his best is yet to come. Inside rush, we felt at that point as we started day 2 of the draft, we felt like his inside rush was as good as anybody's on the board. And that inside rush does not last long. And we were, our second round selection, we had two, our first one was at 56. And we just felt very strongly with the grade we had on him, he's not going to be there at 56. And so if we're going to be aggressive, we stayed patient round one, got Maxwell. If we want to truly, add an inside rusher, let's go get this kid. We like it. We've been around him, and we think his best ball is yet to come once we can kind of get our hands on him here.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.